Because I thought they had to be knocked back, but I don't think that is true. It helps, though.
I need mana.
Definitely seems if you land on top of them, it's proccing more, which makes sense to me. Because they are close to the point of origin of the missiles. So if they're traveling in the correct angle, they will get hit by the last missile also released by your AoE. Leap Attack. Leap Attack, this skill, has gained an AoE flat physical damage component. So kind of like in a Warcry radius around you, you'll be applying this damage in addition to attempting to make a weapon strike, as long as a monster is within range. While testing the damage component of it, trying to figure out just how viable it is for early game leveling, I noticed that weird thing that we were seeing just a minute ago, which was I seemed to be chunking any monster that I hit for the same amount of damage twice over. So just to very quickly go over the targets that we were looking at. If you check our leap attack damage, you'll see that the flat AoE damage is doing 486 to 977 damage. Averaging that out comes down to roughly about 600-ish damage per hit. So 600 damage-ish per hit should on average kill them in about 10 hits. But we were consistently getting this 7-hit kill streak. Now, for us to, on multiple attempts, average on the high roll of damage for leap attack isn't impossible, but it's very, very unlikely. The whole reason why we were trying to test this is I just wanted to see when the attack happened. Does the AoE damage happen first, or does the weapon attack hit? In some of our examples, you'll see that a very small amount of damage was dealt to the target, and that's our dagger damage. Because our dagger damage is 0.6% of the monster's total health at max level. And just to re-show you the gear, we're using a dagger, an arachnid mesh, and an FCR all-res ring, and our points are in leap attack, leap, and then we had 1 point here, just to have some res. So what was happening? Well, the more that we looked at it, and after chit-chatting with our local mod legend here, Senpai, it was very obvious that the AoE missile is sometimes triggering twice on the target. The leap attack damage was hitting the monster once and then hitting the monster again. Now, there are a couple things to notice. When a monster was stuck in the corner, no matter where I jumped, they were only ever getting hit once. The monster wasn't able to move. They were in a very small area, and the wall was directly behind them. And they were only getting hit once, and that was consistent. Another thing to notice was that if you were to leap too far away from a monster, and they were only getting hit by the max range of the AoE, they also appear to only get hit one time. But if you jump directly on them, or they happen to move in the right direction, you could see time and time again that the AoE damage from leap attack is hitting them twice. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this might be happening. There's something called next hit delay in the game. This applies to a skill, so the monster can't get hit by it again within a certain frame of time. To give you an idea, Nova has a 4-frame hit delay. That means they can only be hit by Nova once every 1/6 seconds, give or take. This stops you from being able to hit the same target with multiple missiles from a singular attack. And it applies to a couple different things. So it might be something like that. Nova has a 4-frame hit delay, but doesn't knock back monsters. This one, which does knock back monsters, might have a similar or even shorter next hit delay. That means that as they're traveling back, they're literally getting out of the next hit delay flag and then getting hit by the missile again. That's one potential option. I initially thought that it was adding the flat damage of leap attack to my dagger, and it just wasn't showing on the character screen, but we have a couple examples where you can clearly see the weapon attack land, make the hit sound, and it deals very, very little damage. And that was when monsters weren't knocked back and they were actually close enough for my dagger to hit them. What else could it be? That's actually pretty difficult to reason out at this point, because if it's not adding it to the base weapon damage, I was considering some way where you could abuse this, basically like having a free grief on a skill. But it doesn't really seem to be working that way. Either way, I'm not sure if this is intentional. I'm not sure if this is going to make it past the 2 weeks getting into the ladder. Before you think that like, oh, this is like broken, absolutely ridiculous, max level leap, etc., etc. Testing it, it's not abusable to the point where you can recreate it every single attack, although it is fairly consistent. But overall, you leap so slow that doing even upwards of 3,000 damage once a second really isn't that high as far as DPS is concerned. But what I will say is that it makes it a lot more viable in the early game, especially if you're leveling on a Leap Attack Barb. Getting these extra few procs out from your Leap Attack can help to keep monsters away from regenning life, or just generally increasing your DPS. But it's a very weird and interesting little facet of how the skill works at this time. And again, I'm not sure if it's going to make it all the way through, especially after like this video comes out. But if you're trying out Leap Attack, if you're playing now in 2.4, let me know what you think. Let me know what you figure out. I also tried putting an extremely powerful weapon onto the slot, and while the main weapon is doing a lot of damage, I'm seeing very similar results for Leap Attack damage, so I don't think it's double dipping anywhere, but I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this very weird mechanical video.